Hi friends, welcome back to our next monthly course. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this adorable wire wrap bead technique. We'll go step by step as I guide you through the process using both a horseshoe pendant and a teardrop earring shape for our examples. So grab your tools and let's get started. You will need a horseshoe or pendant shape referred to past classes for this tutorial, 26 gauge wire for wire wrapping, hammer and steel block, basic plier set, and some beads. I got these beads from Michaels and I love the size and color and will link them below. I'm so excited to work with beads with you guys and add a pop of color to our designs. So now let's get into the tutorial. We're going to start by wrapping our horseshoe pendant shape. Before we begin, the first thing I always do is make sure the base is nice and flat. The flatter your shape, the more secure your wrap will be. This is a key step to ensure everything holds together tightly. Next, you're going to pick out 5 beads. This is where you can get really creative with your color palette and show off your unique style. I went with some warm yellow tones for the fall. Cut about 8 to 10 inches of your 26 gauge wire. I like to cut a little extra because the last thing you want is to run out of wire mid-wrap and have to start over. Once you cut your wire, thread your first bead so it sits right in the middle, then straighten both ends of the wire up, keeping the bead centered. Place your bead directly in the center of the horseshoe shape with the bead resting just below the pendant and the excess wire pointing straight up. As we start wrapping, use your left pointer finger and thumb to securely hold the left side in place, keeping the bead steady. Then with your other hand, begin wrapping the right side tightly around the pendant 3 times. Once the side is secure, switch your grip to hold that side in place and begin wrapping the other side. Make sure your coils are tight with no gaps between them and that they sit flush against the bead for a clean, secure finish. Next, we'll thread the second bead through the right side of the wire and begin wrapping again. Bring the wire up and in front of the pendant with the excess wire facing upward. Grip the bead securely between your left thumb and index finger for support, and with your right hand lead the wire behind and down the pendant to create a tight, secure wrap, and repeat this process 3 times. A little tip, I like to angle the pendant towards me as I wrap so I can control the wrap more easily. And trust me, these nails are making it trickier than it looks. Now repeat the same steps with another bead to finish the right side of the horseshoe pendant. Thread your bead, then hold all beads securely with your left hand. Guide the wire up in front and then behind the pendant, creating a tight coil. Again, repeat this 3 times. Common issues that can occur while you're wrapping is bead slippage, so hold the beads tightly as you wrap, and gaps. Make sure each coil is snug with no spaces to avoid loose wraps. Now we'll start wrapping the left side of the pendant. Flip the pendant so the back is facing you and add on your bead. Since we flipped it, hold the bead securely in your left hand and guide the wire behind, then in front and down to create the first wrap. I like to use my nails to press the wire close to the coil to keep it in place before pulling it tight. After making about 3 coils, flip the front and check your wraps. If everything looks good, flip back and finish with your last bead. For this final wrap, I want to show you my process with no cuts so you can see how I troubleshoot in real time. Firstly, securing the beads are very tricky for me during the last wraps since there are more beads to hold down. It often takes me a few tries to make sure the beads are positioned correctly between my thumb and index finger, and that is okay. Go slow and take your time. I notice I like to rotate the pendant and check bead placement a lot before wrapping to ensure everything is in place. Also, as I guide the wire behind and up in front, I use my right index finger to position the coil tightly, and this helps a lot. I also find I stop and adjust my left hand a few times during the process as the beads tend to slip more at the end. And yes, I'm definitely struggling a bit more because of these long nails. They're making things a bit trickier, so if you have long nails, expect a bit of a challenge. Otherwise, I love how it turned out and we are almost done. Lastly, we are going to trim off the excess wire on both sides and tuck it back into the coils. Then I just want to check the bead placement and coils. If I need to tighten any, I just take my chain nose pliers and grip both sides of the coils and squeeze. And then that is how you wrap this wire wrap technique on a pendant. Simply add the pendant to a chain to create a cute necklace. Now we're going to do this all over again, but on a teardrop shape so you can make some cute earrings to match. First, you're going to cut about 6 inches of your 26 gauge wire. Since the teardrop shape is more narrow, I prefer having less excess wire so I can thread it through the shape easier. Next, take the first of your 5 beads and thread it onto the wire, making sure it is centered. Thread the wire through the shape, making sure the bead is centered before we wrap. As I center the bead, I like to bend the wire back, anchoring it onto the shape. This helps keep the bead in place before we wrap. Grip the left side nice and secure as you wrap with your right hand, guiding the wire in front of the pendant, then behind and down, creating our first wrap. Option to use your chain nose pliers as you wrap to tighten up your coils. Flip the pendant around and now we will wrap the first bead on the left side. Remember, since we flipped the pendant, we will guide the wire behind the pendant, then back up. Wrap it again 3 times and use your chain nose pliers to get it nice and tight. As I wrap the shape, I go back and forth adding a bead onto the left and right until we have 2 beads on both the left and right side of our centered bead. Starting with the first bead on the right side, the pendant will be facing forward and slide the bead onto the wire. Secure the bead with your left thumb and index finger as you wrap the wire through the front of the pendant and back until you create your first coil. Repeat this 3 times. Slightly move your beads into place with your fingers if your beads are off-centered. Flip your pendant around to work on the first bead on the left side. Repeat the same steps but thread the wire through the back of the pendant as you wrap. Since the pendant is flipped, this helps create symmetry, ensuring your wraps stay clean and consistent. Flip your pendant back facing forward as we work on the second and last bead on the right side. Now we will finish our last bead on the left side, completing our wrap. Lastly, we will clip off the excess wire and assess our bead placement and wire coils. Again, tighten your coils with your pliers if need be, or straighten your beads in alignment. Add on some earring hooks and you are all done. I hope you guys enjoyed this month's tutorial and give it your guys' best shot. This is definitely a bit of a tricky technique, but I'm so excited for you guys to be able to practice this one and get it right. Make sure to post what you guys create so we can all check it out. All right, love you. See you next time.